All right, welcome to the next part of Math 12A videos. A few of you had some questions on the homework that I gave, so I wanted to go over some answers to that. So this is number 1 on page 442. At least a couple of people said they had problems finding, this was angle 1. That was really the only angle they asked you to find in that one. So if I was doing this, which apparently I am, if I was doing this, I would go, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-sided object. So the formula is 180 times n minus 2 to figure out how many degrees should be in that shape. So if that is a 6-sided shape, and I'll count again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it is. 6 take away 2 would be 4. So I would do 4 times 180, which is 720. So all of these angles inside, so this one, and 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 this one, should all add up to be 720. Now I can figure out what this angle is, because this is a straight line and they told me this is 66. So the whole thing would have to be 180. So if I just do 180 minus 66, I get 114. Same thing here. This would be 180 degrees and that side is 72. So 180 minus 72 gives me 108. So the only angles I'm missing are this one and this one, but there's a key here, and that is that they put 2 little round things here and 2 little round things here. What that's telling you is that these 2 angles are the same. So if I call this one X, I would also call this one X because they're the same. So when I take all the angles inside this thing, the 114, the X, the 105, the 119, and the 108, they should all add up to 720 degrees because this shape should have 720 degrees in it. So if I add all the ones I know up, so 114 plus 105 plus 119 plus 108, I get 446, plus I've got 2 x's, that equals 720. Now I have a relatively easy algebra problem. I'm going to subtract 446 on either side. So I have 2x is 274. I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I'm going to get 137 degrees. So this is 137, and so is that one. So that's what I would get. Let me just double check my answer just to be sure I'm not telling you no there. I'm right, 137. Someone else asked for number 3. So number 3, let's look at that one and see. Number 3 has this and this and this, and this line extends, and this line extends, this line extends, and they tell you that this is 62, and this in here is 75, and this out here is 88, and this one is 105, and they want to know this one right here. So we'll call it X. So again, inside this shape, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, sides. So 180 times n minus 2. So 180, 5 take away 2 would be 3. So 180 times 3 would be 540. So all of the angles in here should add up to 540, but I only know one of them in there. However, I know this is 62, and this is a straight line, which means that whole thing should be 180. So if I do 180 minus 62, that tells me that this is 118. Same thought process here. If this is 75, that's a straight line, so the whole thing has to be 180. So 180 minus 75 would be 105. And again, the same premise here. This whole thing, that's a straight line, so that should be 180. So 180 minus 88 should be, I hope, 92. If I've done that right, I probably should check. We know me in mental math, yes. Okay. So all of these, x and 92 and 105 and 118 and another 105, they should all add up to 540. So x plus 105 plus 118 plus 105 plus 92 should all be 540. So then it's just a matter of isolating your x. I would just do, 540 minus 92 minus 105 minus 118 minus 105 gives me that x should be 120 degrees. Again, double checking my answer just to be sure I'm not lying to you. In number 3, 120, and that's what I got. All right. I also was asked to do number 4. So hopefully you're seeing how this should be done, but let's look and see. Oh, number 4 looks like a ton of fun. So, okay. It's not quite that much of a turn, but anyway. And then this is going straight down here. There's a line straight across. This is going out ever so slightly. And then this is going kind of down like this. So it looks something like this. I mean, something like it. They tell us this is 82. They tell us this is 76. But notice that's not a straight line. It shouldn't add up to 180 because that's not a straight line there. They tell us this is 91. They tell us this is 80. They tell us this whole thing is 205. And they tell us this angle, and this angle are all the same. And they want us to find, I'll label them X, Y, and Z. All right? So, first off, I think I would figure out Y first. I could figure out X first. I'm going to figure out Y first. It doesn't really make any difference. If I figure out Y first, here's my thinking for Y. This whole thing is a circle right there. There's a circle. I know that a circle has 360 degrees in it. So I know that 80 plus the 205 plus whatever Y is should be 360 degrees because it's a circle. So that means I would do 360 minus 205 minus 80. I would say that Y is 75 degrees. That's where I would go with that. Then if I look at this bottom part right here, right there, that bottom shape, that is a 1, 2, 3, 4-sided object. If you have a 4-sided object, again, 180 times 2 is 360. All these angles should add up to be 360. So assuming I'm right on that 75, I would do 76 plus 75 plus 91 plus Z should all be 360 degrees. So that means Z would be 360 minus 91 minus 75 minus 76. I would get that Z is 118. Now, I would use that same logic to figure out X. I have up here in the top half, I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-sided object. So again, 180 times n minus 2 would be 180. 5 take away 2 would be 3. Up top, all the angles should add together to give me 540. But I know that this one, and this one are all the same. So 82 plus 80 plus x plus x plus x should be 540. So that is 3x, and I would do 540 minus 80 minus 82 is 378. I'm going to divide both sides by 3. If this works out nicely, that will confirm it works out to be 126 degrees. So I say that number 1, what they labeled number 1 is 126, number 2 is 75, and number 3 is 118. Again, let me double check and make sure that I'm not lying to you. Number 1 is 126, number 2 is 75, and number 3 is 118. Now, you may look at this and say, I did something different and I got the same answer. I had already thought of at least another way to do that as I was doing it. So again, as long as you show your work, I'm showing what I'm doing for each of them. I don't care how you do it. Just make sure it's logical. All right. So let me look at what else was in the homework. So then someone said, can you just do a few between 14 and 29? I didn't give you 14 or 29 to do, so I'm not sure. Were you looking? Yeah, you were looking at the other homework and doing the other homework. I only, from 4 onward, I asked you to do, let me see, is there one? So I didn't ask you to do anything from 14 to 19. Yeah, go back and look at the homework that I actually assigned the second time round, because I didn't ask you to do any of those. So that's how I would do those. I didn't see any other questions. If you do have other questions, please let me know. Again, I said it in the other video, but I'll say it again in this one. In case you watch one but not the other, you should be watching all of them. Your test is on Thursday. All right, so hopefully this helped.